welcome to the review. This is something fun that I'm trying out, so bear with me. We're gonna kick this off by talking about the game, just going over a bit about this update in particular and kind of the way forward of how I as a player see it, I as a content creator see it. So it'll be a good opportunity for you guys to bring up some conversation on some topics or concerns. I think it's a good opportunity to talk about it. So go straight into it. Yep. So in the fashion that I used to play around with AV tier lists, I was thinking, let me try to make a little fun format for myself to review things. So this really just talks about what the game is for some folks just tuning in. They're like, man, what is ARX or Anime Rangers? Who's it by? It just has some basic admin info here in front. Really for Robux, when you're talking about this type of game, right now you have 3x. I think the introduction of 3x is fine. You do have some auto trait rerolls, VIP and Shiny Hunter. Nothing game breaking. Maybe 3x is, a bit more on the fast side, but you can share with friends. Gamble, definitely a lot of gambling when it comes down to this game. So it's an idle RPG anime type genre with a lot of gambling. So a lot of gamba. So I think as of right now, it's next to none for actually pay to win elements, but next to none to light. So 3x, yeah, 3x is what it is. It is 3x. So it'll be a little faster. It is what it is. You either get it, you don't. It's not necessarily pay to win because it's only in some game modes as of right now. But I thought 3x was a good addition, especially for some of these game modes that they might plan on making a lot longer, like we saw. So pros of the game, just going forward, is it's easy to play. I think the 2x weekends for the gambling and the updates for different systems to come. So for Boss Studios, they do a good job when it comes down to adding these quality of life changes. So it's nice to see that with the new ownership we get some good benefits. Some cons we already saw early on that had to do with the early balancing reward systems. They really are trying to get an understanding of how to make the game economy healthy. What happened before with the previous owners, they really did a poor job, and that's why the game really died off. So Boss Studios woke up and was like, man, I'll eat this for breakfast, or they took it for a snack and they picked it up and they just started reviving this thing. So it's interesting to see them play around with the game economy and try to balance it out. So for the rating of the game overall, like I'm doing all this straightforward, so this way there's not a lot of yap before it, but we're doing a 6.5 out of 10. Yep. So I do think the game's worth playing. Investing into it now is probably the best time, as it's in the starting of growing pains as it builds up into something probably a lot more popular once they pick it up. So as content gets added into the game, you'll be able to keep up with it, and it has the potential for some enjoyable strategy without the demand for a ton of manual gameplay. So I think it's a fun game. So we'll even go into a bit more details. So let's pull up Roblox real quick. And some talking points. Yeah, this is definitely a review video for welcome if you guys are just tuning in. So some general thoughts for the opener, right? This is one of the first major events after the summer event. You have 1,000-Year Blood War. This update, like I said, we gave it a 6.5 out of 10. It could have been better. I think a lot of what happened in this update had to do with how they're managing resources. So they're definitely going through some form of identity crisis on how they want to manage things. So you have two routes really when you're running these lanes of how you play this game. You have how fast can I complete a stage, and then you have how long do I want the player to take on the stage. And most of the game has been up to the player. It's been up to the player to determine how fast they go based on the comp they create. So I think that's the better creative direction. Let the player dictate how fast they can go based on the comp they create. your job is to put the obstacles in challenge. To time gate people into a manual 10 minutes, into a hard 3 minutes, 5 minutes, I think it's messed up. I don't think the game plays the same way or has the same feel unless you leave it open to the player to determine their team comp and see how fast you can clear these maps. That's where the fun comes in. There's no fun in building a team and you're like, man, it's going to take 5 to 10 minutes anyway, there's no point. And that is the issue with a lot of the current modes. So let's go into the new one. For 1,000 Year Blood War specifically, this event, I'll be honest, kind of sucks. It's boring. The most interesting game mode they have right now is Boss Attack, and even now they're kind of messing with it. So Boss Rush is quite boring. I don't think anyone has found this enjoyable. There's nothing challenging about it where the player has to think about the comp. There's just a bunch of extra paths for no reason. And it is what it is. Okay, we're not going to glaze something that doesn't deserve to be glazed. Now, to be fair, the map looks good. I don't know about you guys, but let me put the quality up. Whenever it wants to. Why glaze when you can flame? That's funny. Quality doesn't want to go up. Manual. There we go. Great. So the actual map and everything about it looks really good. So kudos to their map maker. I think they're doing a good job. I do like the idea that, you know, this is a map where we're going to earn Shinji. Shinji has the whole, you know, sensory go nuts thing. Yeah, I think they did a good job with this map. I think they cooked. I think it's great to see the inverse of the actual map you were playing on before. This is just boring. This is just pointless. This part right here. There's no challenge on mobs. There's no reason for anyone else to pick another, like, to do anything else other than spam path. So that's what I think of the boss rush. It's quite boring. A big issue with this right now, it's time gated. So it doesn't matter how fast you think you can clear, how good your units are. Regardless of how much you invest into your units, you're going to finish it in X amount of time if your units are this strong. So everything can probably be like one shot by a level 50 unit. It's just a waste of time. There's nothing about this that is remotely interesting or satisfying about automating this. Compared to something like Infinite Tower, where, you know, it's funny, Eto solos it by herself, but it takes a while to figure out, oh, let me get a unit that has this amount of range, let me roll on it, let me make it this strong, and then you automate it. You're kind of satisfied. You're like, all right, cool. A lot of different modes like that. The other one is Boss Attack. I thought Boss Attack was probably one of their better unique takes on the game, where it really lets you build your team comp, use your team comp, and try to get the highest score possible. So that was a smart game mode. I say was because they made a little update with Gutaro today. If your issue was the unit's amount of damage, his damage is based on percent HP, they should have just nerfed the HP of Goku. Let's be real. If they nerfed the HP of Goku, straight up, you wouldn't have had this issue where people are getting 5 to 6 billion. It's like a few digit changes. They turned off his damage. That's what happened to Gutaro. So Gutaro is this guy, Blood Scythe, if you're wondering. You get him from the Infinite Tower. He has an insane ability. It's called Blood Rot. And his Blood Rot at 4 stacks instantly loses 20% of the current HP of the enemy. So because it's based on the enemy HP, they could have just nerfed the actual HP of the boss and people wouldn't have had as high scores as they did. It's not really even bug abuse, let's be real. People were using Blood Scythe, duplicate with the souls that you gave them. You gave them the Fire Soul, increase the attack speed of the unit. People weren't bug abusing, they were spamming farm for their life because you let them. And you could have just changed the HP on Goku. So they got a little freaked out about it, made some changes. So let's move on. I don't think doing a 4-minute stage right now is going to be helpful, but that's what I thought of the actual boss rush. I do think boss attack has a lot more. No. So Gutaro is actually very solid, very strong unit. They just nerfed it only for one game mode, which was boss attack. For the update, you know, he really didn't need to. They could have just changed Goku's HP, and it would have been a lot better. He's definitely a solid unit, especially when it comes down to raids. So, let's see what else we have. So we talked about boss rush, and then summer update. So that was the other issue, was summer update. Summer update was pretty good for the first 2 weeks. It was good for the first 2 weeks because it let players build into different things. So you got to see a lot of players evolve the meta, have a lot of fun. You get to see Sovereign Naruto, Sovereign Sanji, people rolling on really weird units to try to get fast times. I think it was actually good. A lot of people enjoyed it. A lot of people enjoyed the update. When Brandon said, hey, do you want another week of this? Everyone said yes. And it's not another week of a 4-minute event. They want the actual event that they voted for, which was the summer event. So they had an issue with clearing this way too fast. And I agree. If it's too fast, it's probably very wrong to finish this in 0 seconds. Makes 0 sense. However, the 30 seconds to 1 minute wasn't bad. If they had issues with the rewards, nerf the rewards. Something that stopped players from getting insanely fast times had to do with the mob density. So when the mobs would glitch and you would have 2 waves, I will tell you right now, the 2 waves slowed people down, and you would go from a 30-second run to like a minute 45. And all it took was 2 waves. Something like 2 waves slowed people enough that it was kind of rough for some folks, and they were like, man, we're trying to get, you know, a minute 30. You know, we're trying not to get a minute 30. Let's go for 30 seconds. So it was very funny to see them change it to a hard 3 minutes. You have to sit and watch. This punishes the player for being good. This system right now punishes the player for building out their team, farming units. You could just bring any trash and you could win this. So summer event, very, very good. And then it fell off hard. It fell off hard for the last week. I think it was a huge mistake by them creatively. So, like I said, a lot of the decisions they're making has to do with them balancing the in-game economy with what players enjoy and then how to make money. So, I can tell you some good ideas, though, for monetization that I think people would like if they are even going to watch this review. So, I thought Brandon did a good job with ads in the AFK chamber. I think everyone's going to jump in the AFK chamber for your unit, but I think it's a genius idea. You know, we can give a shout out for that. I thought ads in the AFK chamber was good. Whoever thought of that in the Boss Studios, were cooking. Skins, you have skins, you could do different models, you have cosmetics, battle passes. You know, I'll tell you right now, like, all of that are good ways to probably make income off this game and still build CCU. I do think something like expeditions would be crazy good for the game. So you could send out units to clear things offline, and it's based on your fastest speed. I really think that needs to happen for this type of game because it's about automating. And then you can add a game pass to then reapply your units, so you could just collect big rewards. So they could put like a $10 to $20 game pass for automating expeditions, and people could just farm stuff. And you can monitor the rewards, change how you like it, but I think that would give players a little bit more incentive to collect all the units and still reap the rewards, right? And then those units you send out, they're not usable until you get them back from the expedition. So you have to think about it. Then we also have, you know, PvP or their exclusive bosses attacks, you know, so like, I think once PvP comes out, if they ever do drop PvP mode, I think it'll be a little fun. We'll see how everything works out. So, I think the game has a lot of creative potential. to make money without hurting the player experience and let them enjoy having fun, you know, gambling on different units. So that's where I'm at. As of right now, 1000 Year Blood War update 6.5. So I think that's good. Um, you know, if you're talking unit of the update, definitely unit of the update is Eisen. Eisen's insanely good. I do think part of the update was rushed because they want to feed content to players to make everyone happy. But they definitely compromised some quality on some units. Some units just fell through. Like Yuhaba really fell through. It was not helpful at all. Um, Eisen I thought was really well put together. He definitely had a lot of bugs when he dropped. He's better placed now. I think he still could be tweaked to be a little more fun and interesting because the game modes are not, you know, going to be 4 to 5 minute game modes, so he can max out every time. So pretty interesting. So that's where we're at. 6.5 is what we give the update. I am excited for the next one. Don't know what it is yet. We'll see what they drop. I'm curious to see what kind of changes they'll make to the souls, the equipment, and we can talk more about that at the next review video for the next update. So anyway, if you guys liked this review, you want more of this stuff, especially during the live stream, smash that like button, hit that subscribe. Just let me know what you think in the comments down below. So appreciate you guys for tuning in for this review.